I'm so sorry to keep those of you waiting. It has been quite a bit.
I'm so sorry to keep those of you waiting.
Oh, yeah, that's an echo. I am so sorry to keep those of you waiting, though. We did not have a commentator listed a little bit before the stream. We did have somebody who was going to do it. I think it was George who was going to stream, but with some last-minute changes, I am back. Ryan Searles here on commentary. Good to have you all here. Again, we apologize to keep you waiting, but we have less than 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Let's do a big recap of yesterday, Tier 3. We were in Qatar, and the race was shortened. The race was shortened, ended early. Lennon was trying to go for his third win in a row, but just missed out. It was Uri who ended up getting his first win. The last race that was race shortened on the week of the 9/11 anniversary was when Reese Dainty won in Tier 1 for the first time in Season 5. Uri ended up getting his first career win yesterday, so congrats to him and congrats to Red Bull. But Red Bull right now look very strong in the session so far in qualifying. It is Blonde, Jackson Traeger, also known as JNT, and Cryptic, the top three. Just a reminder for those of you who are not aware with RPL's heritage throughout time, Cryptic and Blonde, both previous Tier 2 champions. But that all comes so long ago. Cryptic won his championship back in Season 2, and Blonde won his championship back in Season 6. And obviously everyone knows that JNT's a champion from the last few seasons. It was actually the last season of F1 23. But yeah, a little late coming in, so let's give you some rundowns here before I get a co-comment in if there is one. It might be George, but I could be wrong. I just had to check with them. I've not got an answer yet. So I just want to go over, before we get to this qualifying session, we'll go on board with a lap on somebody. Vodka's on one. We'll go with him while we talk about this. Last week in Baku, it was Josh getting his first career win for Ferrari. And, well, first Tier 2 win. He's won an F2 before. It's good that he's ended up finding his strides in F1 cars, finally. He had a second in Monaco before, now finally the first win. Last 2 weeks of racing in Tier 2 have been first-time winners. Red Fire's won before in this league, but he's not won in Tier 2 until Bahrain. Did that with the Mercedes 1 too. And Red Fire broke a 2 or 3 year drought. Well, doesn't matter. Obviously, Mercedes leading the constructors with their help from round 1 and round 2. Both Vodka and him on the podium the last 2 weeks. Josh won in Baku. And with that, driver standings, let's go over it very quickly. Red Fire leads over Josh and Vodka. 4 points separate that top three. Jackson Traeger, I know last week on the commentary, Johnny, also known as Ghost Fame, Faded, he was talking about how Jackson Traeger wasn't too happy with his Bahrain finish, wanted to step it up, and I don't think Baku was the race he would have wanted, but obviously, first 2 rounds, you still have time to change things, and Vodka improves by a 10th. So Jackson Traeger, he's 4th, Wavy's 5th. That's your top 5 Ford drivers. Constructors, Mercedes lead Ferrari. We already spoke about Mercedes having a good start. This is probably their best start since Season 11 when Owen won the championship. Well, Owen won the Drivers' Championship. I think they just missed out on Constructors. They're leading by 29 points. Red Bull's 55 back. McLaren, a very poor start. 66 points back from the lead. 5th in points. I'm very surprised to see that. I've watched both races. Not the full thing, but I have watched both races. That was a car off. That's a McLaren. Talk about their poor start. That's a Godfather off. Yeah, I have watched both races so far, and I've got to say, McLaren haven't really had bad pace, but they've not had the track position, and that's the problem. So welcome along to everybody watching the stream. I don't have access to the penalty points chat. If Jack can help on that, I can figure out who may have a qualifying ban. I think Jake Bandy, probably on loan, I would guess, or late. Probably why he's retired. We'll just check that quickly. Yes, that would be correct. Jake Bandy was not in the lineups till last minute. See, we got some things in chat. Let's see. Red Bull 1-3. Cookie's very happy to see that. If you did not know the news already yesterday, this happened where Blue Goggy, Tier 2 driver, now in V-Carb, he was dropped as the Academy Assistant, no longer the Academy Assistant. That was the breaking news there. Blonde, last week, inherited the Red Bull contract. The Season 6 Tier 2 champion is now on a lap. Let's go on board with him as he goes toward Turn 1. Blonde locks up a little bit on the right front, but as you can see, the curbs on the left and right side are going to be what the drivers are either hugging or near. Some parts of the track you'll want to hug them, other parts you'll be just wanting to be just against them. But Blonde's got some traffic to navigate. It's both Ferrari power cars, actually both Ferraris in fact, in front of him. Will this hurt him or help him? That is some dirty air. They're going to have to get out of the way. 27 thousandths, and the Ferrari almost got in the way, and that could have been a massive collision. Blonde right in the Ferrari parking in front, not happy clearly. Which Ferrari was that? That was Danny. Danny was in the way and he's collided with an Academy teammate. Oh no. Which Haas was that? That was Polo. Polo got involved with an Academy teammate colliding there. That is absolute disaster. And Danny is spun around and retired on track. So now we go to Jackson Traeger, the Season 12 Tier 2 champion. He's had a few wins to his name in Tier 2, but most importantly, he's trying to go for pole position right now. He's got a lot of poles to his name, and he might not get it now because he's gone off. Cryptic in the V-Carb is another one about to cross and get to the sector split. Let's find out what he's doing. He's one of our first competitive cars to come across the line. Checker flag is out. 2,000s for Cryptic. This may be just to hold the second row right now. That is why this is important. Aston crosses the line. That is Wavy Knife. Good race last week. Good qualifying this week. 5th place. The Alpine. Fulls. Up to 6. That's a good showing from him. That car should not be up there. So good stuff right there. Cryptic crosses now. Cryptic does not improve. Jackson Traeger does not improve. How about the Mercedes of Red Fire Tiger? He doesn't improve either. We have got some improvements from the back of the field. Jacksta. 3/10 up. Blugagi remains 12th. He had some damage crossing the line from a car in front. So the Aston, we've got some major incidents happening at the end of the session, and it's all changing the outcome for sure. But right now, Jackster could help Ferrari out here. They would need it being second in the constructors. Where does he go? Crosses now, and he only just improved, but he didn't improve any places. Dominic, the last one, but that does not matter because he's backed off, had an incident, Blonde improved, and still remains pole. So after being blocked on a lap, we missed it, which we apologize for. After being blocked on a lap, he went for another one. Didn't need to improve, but he did. Blonde back on pole in Tier 2, and that is a long drought, I'm pretty sure, that Blonde is just broke. Here's your order. Red Bull Racing, Red Bull Academy, 1, 2, 3. All previous champions. All previous champions. Blonde, Jackson, Cryptic, Vodka, and Wavy are out of the top 5. Merc Academy also looking strong right there. They just need their second Aston, and they may be able to compete in an Academy battle with Red Bull tonight. Blonde takes his first pole position since his championship season, since Season 6. His last pole in Season 6 came in Mexico, round 8. I just want to recap people on the last time we ran Zandvoort in Tier 2. We ran it for the first time in 9 seasons back in Season 11. And that was the season where it was JTK versus Gecko for the victory. And JTK got his first pole that race, finally started to show a lot. I speak about Gecko, he just gets online too, funny enough. But Gecko won that race because JTK made a mistake speeding in the pit lane, cost himself a chance at the victory. So Bulks almost had a podium in an Alfa Romeo too. Drive-through costed him. What are we going to see here tonight, chat? Give us some of your predictions for this event. Shall be very interesting to see. But for JTK's case in that race, home favorite, couldn't capitalize. I don't know if we have any home drivers here tonight. Lennon? Yeah, Lennon. That's it. Yeah, Lennon. The Tier 3 title contender right there. So, yeah. Only our second time in Zandvoort, by the way, in the last 11, 12 seasons of Tier 2. It's quite miraculous that this track has not been ran more. We've got a little bit of time before we get counting down the time. It looks like a one-stop from the drivers from what I could tell. Soft, medium, medium, hard. Simple. But what I do want to make people aware of are the upcoming races in Tier 2. We've not talked a lot about our calendar. I don't know if any of our commentators hit on it at all, but the upcoming races in Tier 2, just to keep you in mind for the championship battle, we got 20 seconds till we go lights out, but we got Spain coming up next week. Then we're in Monza, Japan, Singapore. Interesting races, but a reminder for the rest of the weekend. F2's in Canada tomorrow, while F1 is in Zandvoort as well. So a lot of these Tier 1 drivers will be watching this event, keeping their eyes out on what may happen. 5 seconds to go till lights out. Give us your last-minute predictions. Wavy podium. Ooh. The 5 red lights are coming on in Zandvoort. To kick off round 3 of the season. In season 14, it is lights out, and away we go. Both Red Bulls looked like they had a good start, but Jackson Traeger did not get it going well in the second phase. He's going to be side by side with the Academy teammates. Both kick Saubers, almost get into a collision with the Williams there at the back of the field. The McLarens needing to gain spots. Jake Bandy is already up tons of them. Now we get to the bank section where Red Fire Tiger is now alongside, and Alpine trying to get by, needs some places. This would be great for his championship's sake with his teammate, cannot get through right now. Now through the midfield, we got some more battling. That was a timing glitch with Jake Bandy, by the way. That's been sorted out now. But FX7 Danny, who could be facing a penalty later on, has just been passed by Bulgogi. If you were not here for qualifying, he retired on track. That is against the rules, but down the inside, Red Fire Tiger already getting ballsy, trying to make up some ground for what he lost earlier, and for the lead, Jackson Traeger gets it over Blonde. May have been a mistake from Blonde, may have just also been Blonde letting him go, but right now, we have got a McLaren battling a V-Carb. Right now on our screen, as Bulgogi makes a mistake, Lennon trying to get Red Fire. I got some timing glitches on the gaps, but as you can see on our screen, here are our spots gained. Bulgogi, the most of anybody, up 3, but down 3 from the Godfather and the McLaren. You know, with the McLaren, oh, incident almost. Someone got caught up in something right there. That was the Godfather with both Ferraris. Maybe stuck in AI? He might be out of it now. No, he's not. Something's happening to the Godfather, whether it's lagging out, being an AI. He's now lost 6 places on the opening 4 sectors. And he's going to get another one now lost from the Kick Saubers. Maybe make it 8? Incident! J&T is off! And now, down to 9th. He went wide while he was near his teammate, and that's going to cost him massively. Here are the tires. That's not good from Jackson Traeger, the Season 12 Tier 2 champion. It was the champions running 1, 2, 3. Cryptic now is going to put some pressure on Blonde. Cryptic, the previous Tier 1 winner, hasn't even won a race in RPL since the very start of the F1 23 game cycle. He's just set fastest lap, and he's going for it already. Gagi sets the fastest lap, his teammate taking it over, so both V-Carbs look fast, but the one who's in front may get the lead. Will it happen into Turn 2? Cryptic's ahead. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but for the first time since Season 9 F1, TSR Cryptic is leading a race. That would be great. I mean, Jackson Traeger just got Bulgogi, the Academy teammate, right there. It would be great to see Cryptic win. It would be great to see V-Carb win. I don't know the last time V-Carb has won, but they got a podium yesterday with well, used to be ERS Ardell, now it's RPL Ardell. And Bulgogi, in his return to V-Carb, has just lost another place. He had Jackson Traeger, he had Danny. He's gained 2 places since the start, but that was just recently 4 places. Now it's only 2. And up in front of that, Red Fire Tiger, I told you guys he needs to gain spots here, especially where Vodka's at in the grid. He still can't get by the Alpine. Bouncing, porpoising. Ooh. Back at it. Blonde switches it up with Cryptic once again. Jackson Traeger, fastest lap. The teammates, once again, while they take the lead, their teammate gets the fastest lap. Blonde is through and ahead. Everyone talking about how Cryptic needs to learn how to sandbag to be allowed in Tier 2. Yeah. Cryptic is making his TP proud, to Josh's point in the chat. I agree with that. Everybody still remains in this DRS train all the way to 13th place. I want to talk about some of our guys here in the midfield. Paulo got at a good finish in Baku last week. He was battling Blonde, who's now leading this race. Blonde was in a V-carb that race in Baku. Now Blonde in the main Red Bull. Also, both Ferraris are in this midfield. This is not a good sign for them, especially for where they sit in the constructors. Ferrari won last week with Josh. Josh not here. It's not a good sight to see Ferrari this far back. Same with the McLarens. And if they keep sitting this far back on the grid, as both Saubers almost get into a collision right there with the McLaren. If they sit this far back and cannot find anything, the McLarens and the Ferraris, because this track is very heavy on track position, you guys have people with the Mercedes, the Alpines, the Astons up here, even the V-carb of Cryptic who can take good finishes tonight. Cryptic slipstreaming into turn 1, cannot make the move. Everybody still sits in this DRS train, and it seems to be a game of follow the leader. Jack says he did not sign these drivers who are in McLaren for tonight, so he's not taking blame for what's going on. Interesting stuff right there with the McLarens, with where they run. We got to focus on our lead. I cannot get my eye off of them, especially with what happened with lap 1 with Blonde and Jackson. We got a safety car. Safety car triggered. Dominic missing his front wing. And this race has been halted. That will throw a wrench in the strategy, that's for sure. I was just talking about Blonde and Cryptic, by the way. I was just saying with the leaders, I missed the change with Blonde and Jackson Traeger into this area on lap 1. And then I missed Jackson Traeger going off. You know, I know the deltas were glitched in lap 1. I'll make an excuse for that. But for lap 2, with what happened with Jackson Traeger, he's been lucky enough to gain back the spot he lost with Bulgogi. But now with him being on these soft tires and obviously going to go probably the rest of the way on hards, I'd assume, because the hards on any track can make the rest of the way. This is a perfect opportunity for him, and he should take it. Cryptic looks like he wanted to overtake Blonde into the pit lane, but did Blonde get all 4 wheels in there? That is interesting. Blonde may have not got all 4 wheels in there, and that can be investigated later if anybody feels the need to report it. Bulgogi, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The 4 Mercedes Academy cars, they stay out. Jacksta, needed track position, he stays out too. Double stack from lots of the field. We have both Red Bulls in. Dominic, 10-second. He just already had his front wing missing. Now make it go from bad to worse, having a penalty. Josh, the Mercedes team principal, says, petition to ban the stake from the grid and all tiers. All they do is cause safety cars. Ooh, shots fired right there. Danny Softs. Ooh. Godfather, Jake Bandy, Dominic on Softs. Are they expecting to go a 2-stop here? You know, I'm telling you right now, like I said earlier, track position, track position. This is what this is around this circuit. That's why the Mercedes have gone for it. I don't think it will help them unless they get another safety car and others pit. But interestingly enough, Blonde is on mediums. And the thing is, Blonde started on mediums too. He will have to pit again unless there's rain. But I don't think there's any rain. I checked Bulgogi's point of view before going on stream or going into the 5 red lights, and there was no rain to be expected. A lot of clouds, but that's it. Jake Bandy lags out. He'll need another invite. George and Jack are in this session, so I'm going to guess that they'll be able to handle that. But our first safety car, if you're just joining us, came out because of the kick Sauber, the stake of TT Dominic, causing it, missing his front wing there at the banked corner of 3 and went off. Unfortunate for him, and he got a 3-second time penalty while entering the pits. Is this him giving up from this race, or is this him serving the 10-second time penalty? We will find out. Yet to pit our top 5. Blonde, by the way, just keep in mind, for those of you not aware, Blonde gone from medium to medium. He will have to pit again. So technically our net race leader is TSR Cryptic in the V-carb. Jack Miles, I'd expect you're watching. You're familiar with the V-carb win when they were called AlphaTauri. Season 1, we had an AlphaTauri win in France, round 3. Season 6, we had an AlphaTauri win. That was AMS Lewis in Brazil. Our only other times we've had a V-carb, when they were called AlphaTauri, win in RPL Tier 2. JNT is not well, Jackson Traeger, not happy with whoever drilled him from behind in the pits. Luckily enough, he didn't get a speeding penalty for it, but he is back in 12th. And like I said, he is somebody who will take full advantage of the safety car. We are in. Give us your predictions for what's going to happen in this restart. We now have a more clear picture 7 laps in for what the results may be, but still a long way to go. Godfather said his wheel died and he had to fix it, so looks like he has more of an excuse to be back there than Jake Bandy does. I know Jake Bandy had that qualifying ban, but you're in a McLaren there. You are more likely to gain spots than maybe a Red Bull from the back of the field. That car's been fast, but they got to have their drivers really prove it. Vodka leads, and when is he going? He's got both Academy teammates behind him in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. He goes now. Restart underway. Got to make sure everyone stayed in line. I think just about everybody did, but we got some movement going on. The V-Carb being challenged of Cryptic for the net lead. Blonde, it looks like, almost ran in the back of the Ferrari. Jackson Traeger's gaining a spot. More yellow flags behind. Dominic's out. That is down at turn 1, and that's not going to cause a safety car since it's on the very beginning of the restart. Actually, never mind, it will. Dominic out. The 2nd safety car caused this race, and both of them have been caused by the same Pick Sauber. Will this strategy play into the hands of the top 5 who have yet to pit? And Blonde, who also, by the way, had not changed had not changed different compounds. He had changed tires, but had not changed correct compounds. And Blonde mentioning in his rear view, he may have saw it at the turn 1. I didn't catch it. Pick Sauber, maybe straight lining turn 1. That is not good if that's the case. That will probably be something the stewards will look at. Had multiple occasions with guys straight lining the wall out of frustration if that was the case. Alistair did it once in Formula Endurance at Bahrain, very beginning of the season. Minako says, see, this is why I'm in Sauber in Tier 1. I don't cause safety cars. And Dominic has left the session. We got some of our leaders coming in. They feel like the strategy is benefiting them. And they do take full advantage of it. Wavy, though, sped in the pit lane. Didn't even look like he was speeding, but he did. 10-second. Blugagi is in. We'll have to watch this restart because he's going to be right near Wavy Knife. Obviously, the reason he's coming in, though, is to serve the 10-second time penalty. He'll put on a fresh set of soft compound tires. Be on the same strategy, basically, that Bandy, Godfather, and Danny are. But I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Softs just don't go long around here. And also, they don't go long, but you won't have the track position when you pit again. We saw soft compound tires. I guess he switched it to mediums? Gaki did? Maybe the mediums can go the rest of the way. I'm not sure what the tire life looks like around here. Again, those of you not aware, George was supposed to be the main commentator, I believe. Couldn't do so last minute, so that is why I am in here. Ryan Searles, your F2 commentator in here for the event. I mean, I just want to take a look at the driver standings right now because, I mean, I think it was Blonde who was 3rd. No, it was, okay, it was Josh, then Vodka. Sorry. That's who it was in between. Josh. I kept thinking it was Blonde for a second. It was not. That's my bad. Yeah, so Red Fire's leading. I mean, he's yet to pit, but he leads this championship. Vodka's 3rd in the championship, but he's back in 15th, so he had something happen there. Obviously, to have him this far back, I was actually in pitting. Excuse me. A little brain fog there. Wavy's coming in again, and he's going to serve the 10-second, obviously, but the worst factor for Wavy is that he's going to be near Blugaki, and I don't think that's what he wanted, so not fun. Not fun if you're Wavy. Don got kicked from the server. What happened there? Gagi probably did that because the 10-second. Mediums were the best choice, I agree, but Wavy's going on to softs. So this is interesting from these guys going on to softs. They're obviously going for a 2-stop. We know that. They cannot make the rest of the way. But this track is so heavy on track position. I don't understand why. I mean, hey, in a Tier 1 race recently here, we had the fake TB get plowed from the back by Reese Dainty from an absolute diabolical race in terms of driving standards that Tier 1 race had. I know Minako doesn't want me probably reminding him about that, him being in the Twitch chat. But that race, TB got plowed from the back, hit. I know he only lost places and went to third. I don't know how he didn't lose his rear wing there completely, but obviously he went to third and battled for the win. So you're not going to win this race from so far back unless it's that chaotic. So why are we going for the two-stop here, in my opinion? The most recent Tier 1 Zandvoort race we're referring to, which Tier 1's in Zandvoort tomorrow. Again, a lot of Tier 1 drivers going to focus on this for sure. Safety car is in. I want to find out how Dom got kicked from the server there. Oh, the Dom. Oh, this Dom. I was thinking we were referring to CRE Dom for a minute. Yeah. Well, I could see why he did after straight line turn 1. They just banned a guy in Tier 1 last week for straight line in the last chicane, thinking it was okay. But he also caused other issues that race too at Spa. So, things do add up. And speaking of things adding up, second restart. We're underway. Some drivers weaving and bobbing, trying to move around, get their tires up to temperature. We do have a move, it looked like, from Wooda and Kimmy. And we have a spin. Neski, turn 1. I think that's end plate damage on the right side. He may have had contact. He was running near a few drivers, but right now, we may get some contact here. Danny is around. Danny's in trouble, and Godfather's just got overtaken. So, all the big-name cars with the McLaren, the Ferrari, we've got 2 of them, actually 3 of them if you include Vodka and his strategy, all back there. So this is door wide open for guys like Cryptic, Fools, our 2 net race leaders right now, and even Polo God who's on the net podium. Wooda, Jake Bandy, side by side. We had a collision last week with the McLaren and Sauber. We're going to have a collision now with the Sauber being tagged from the V-Carb. This is just chaotic all over. I think Blonde gained a spot in Jackster, but they've lost so much time down the inside. Wavy Knife trying to gain some spots. This time that's on the Godfather. Wavy Knife, great overtake right there, making the McLaren just lose his feet right there in that battle. But for our lead, 6/10 the gap. Redfire has it. Lennon wants it. Both yet to pit. And Polo God is under pressure from a driver he mentored before. He talks about this all the time. Jackson Traeger through for net P3. I talked about him taking advantage of these safety cars and his spin earlier on. He really has done so. Net P3 right now. Remember, Blonde has pitted for those of you not aware, but Blonde has not changed compounds. The only way that works out for him is if there's potential rain, which there doesn't look like there is. We got a Williams in the points. We got an Alpine in the points. We got a Haas in the points. I mean, we're 12 laps in. We've not had a lot happen, but the big name teams, they look like they're being messed up. Blugagi and Wavy, back at it. You want to talk about their history? Go to the RPL YouTube channel, RPL Feuds. These two have had it out for each other for the last 4 seasons of Tier 2. And they're both trying to get by the Williams driver in front. Oh, Wavy gets to the back of him, touches him again. Gagi loses the rear. Again, all in DRS still to the leader here, all the way back to 15th. So, really, everyone has a chance. It's just about how you make these moves and not losing DRS. Gagi deploys the battery and is trying to get through on the Williams. Wavy's there. Is there going to be a move down to turn 1? I think Gagi was thinking about it, didn't do it. Polo's been overtaken by the McLaren. That's actually where he's going next season. Wavy Knife still can't get by, and if he can't get by, the Godfather's going to be all over his tail right here. Blue Gagi cannot find a way past Kimmy. Will the desperation kick him from Blue Gagi? We've seen him in the Red Bull before. We've seen him in F2 before, where desperation has kicked in before in the past, and it's got the better of him. The pressure has got the better of him. That's why he's in this ride right now, not in the main Red Bull anymore. Wavy Knife tried to have a go. Wasn't going to happen. Now, the Godfather, who was reeling him in, goes for it on the inside. We're going to have 2x2 as we get to Sector 3. Well, Blogagi backed out of it, but Wavy Knife is still not done. The Godfather and him are still wheel to wheel, and Wavy Knife for the second time in that corner has gone through. Up in front, though, Lennon is being challenged by Blonde, and this is now Blonde's opportunity to make this move. He won't, but now Cryptic! He was battling someone, and there may have been contact. He's lost it. He pits. He may have picked up damage, so that's why, but Blonde could not get by Lennon. Jake Bandy and Jackson Traeger on the banked hairpin. Behind that, Bulgogi finally does overtake Kimi. Now, Wavy Knife trying to repass the McLaren, and that got very hairy. Ho, ho, ho. Wow. We still have moves being made. It looked like Jackson Traeger was going to go for it in fulls, but it just was not there. Jackster, who is yet to pit here, is just holding up this train, which has allowed the top three to break away. Helps Blonde out because he still needs to pit. I would love to see the McLaren here of the Godfather. I think this might be one of his first few starts, if I'm correct. Get through on Kimi and the others, because McLaren desperately need the points. Only have 10 points scored in the first 2 rounds. Here we go up in front. 4th place. Foles has it. Jackster concedes it. Jackson Traeger now battles Jake Bandy. The Godfather. 3-car race here. Jake Bandy now putting his nose in the mix. Cannot keep it in. Jackson Traeger through, but Jake Bandy, maybe with the switchback of dreams, side by side here. Jackson Traeger, Jake Bandy, wheel to sector 2. Who's going to get out in front? Right now, it's Jake Bandy with the edge. Jackson Traeger with the inside line. They're still not done. Banging. Touching. Jackson Traeger and Jake Bandy. That could have been a whole lot worse. Jackson Traeger loses out, and he's now outside the points. I think Kimi just got overtaken by the Godfather. And look at this kerfuffle here. Prancing horse with the Williams not having the best of times, 2x2. We just had the lead change. Red Fire Tiger lost it, and now the Godfather lost the rear as well. All kicking off. So many drivers struggling to find grip. So many drivers struggling just to race wheel to wheel right now. And for our lead, Blonde wants it back. Blonde on Lennon, the Tier 3 driver who leads the championship versus the Season 6 Tier 2 champion. Blonde is out ahead, but only just. Jake Bandy gives Polo a punt. Bulgogi through. What is happening in this race? Jackson Traeger just had something happen to him right there with Jake Bandy. He's down the order. Obviously, he got the points spot back, but Red Fire just lost the lead. Danny's outside the points for Fright. Vodka still hasn't gained places. This race is really going to flip upside down when you have Lennon, Red Fire, Jackster, all pit. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. They're still in DRS. Godfather, lost the rear. Danny takes advantage. Danny's through and ahead, but that's for the last point spot. You've got both McLarens, a Red Bull, a Ferrari, all fighting back here. I just can't make sense of this. Obviously, bad qualifying from some of these guys don't help it, but this is crazy. The amount of people we could have take out in surprise finishes, and the Tier 3 championship leader takes back the race lead. Jake Bandy is in on the softs finally, but Foles takes 5th. Gaki takes 6th over Polo God. Can't believe I'm saying that sentence right there. V-Carb and Haas battling for 6th. You'd expect them to be battling for the last point spot. Wavy, Godfather again. These two have not given up with each other. Pinching, squeezing now at turn 3. Oh my word. Jake Bandy goes for mediums. Take a second to catch your breath from this race, because it's never ending, the battles. It's never ending the fact that these guys still have yet to pit. Wavy on softs, Godfather on softs, Danny, they're gonna have to pit. What will that do? That'll help Vodka out for the championship battle. Jackson Traeger down the inside of Polo God there. He makes all of that with ease, it looks like, because now his next target's Bulgogi. I don't think Wavy's done with battling. I don't think he's done. For our lead, Lennon, I think he just kind of gave it up right there. Remember, these guys yet to pit or need to pit again. Lennon and Red Fire, they've not pit. Same with Jackster, who takes over 4th. But Blonde needs to pit again. Blonde is on the medium tires. Once again, like we said, Vodka pushing his way through with the Godfather up to 11th. I don't know if that's the way he would have wanted to do it, but he needs these places like we've been saying. He's down here when he shouldn't be. Obviously pitted later too, so that is why. I think we might have some more clips missions than Tier 3 had. I just want to mention that because Tier 3's clips mission's about to close. We've only had 2 incidents submitted. Academy battles. Danny and Polo. Goggy and Jackson. Goggy has had past collisions with Academy teammates, but Polo and Danny had one in qualifying, and that was Danny, who might end up getting a penalty for it. Down the inside on Polo, squeezes his teammate into the gravel almost. That could have been catastrophic, but Danny on 12-lap softs compared to Polo on 12-lap hards, that was really never going to be much of a fight, especially considering Danny needs to pit soon. Same with Wavy. Jackster gets overtaken, and Lennon has lost DRS to our race leader. All big headlines, and now we're about to go 3 wide entering turn 1. Vodka on his previous team principal. Same Academy still, by the way, but Vodka threw it ahead. I think that was smart from Wavy. He boxed the McLaren in, and Vodka's off. Vodka dipped the wheel in the grass, and he's spinning, and he somehow keeps it straight. That is incredible, but he loses the point spot. Back to Wavy it goes. I'm just speaking good about Vodka, and I'm just speaking good about Wavy too. Letting his teammate go, letting it all happen, kind of helping things out, and that's what happens. The Godfather still in a big battle with Wavy. There was contact. That's going to back him into Kimmy again. Kimmy was in this midfield battle in the points for a long time on that restart. Now, maybe trying to reclaim 11th. Woodda, Jake Bandy. There was a collision with Woodda and the McLarens last week. Looks like there was a clean move made there between both. Now for second place, Red Fire Tiger. Remember, he's yet to pit. Between him, Lennon, and Jackster, who've yet to pit, Red Fire Tiger leads that battle. Another DRS swap in the main straight with Jackster and Fulls, by the way. It's good to see Jackster back, you know. He's had a few Tier 2 podiums for Alpine, that car that he just overtook. But he's in the main Ferrari this time when Josh has not been here. So, like I mentioned, Jackster, long history with some podiums. I don't think he's ever won, though. But it won't happen today, but good to see him in some clean battles here for 4th place. Will not become 4th place once the pit stop cycles do figure itself out. We got a trade there, Cryptic, Neski into more trouble. He was the cause of yellow flags, but the last time we had an incident at turn 1, I think twice, we had a safety car. Godfather overtaken by 2 cars now. This is not good from the McLarens today. 13th and 14th. Not the first 3 rounds they would have wanted. Not the first round 13 principal Jack Miles would have wanted either. Halfway through this race, just a reminder, Tier 1 races here tomorrow. If you're a Tier 1 driver, I'm sure you're looking out for some things happening right now in this race. And one thing that is happening is a Mercedes swap once again in the main straight. And Jackster with a swap here. Maybe this time with the Alpine. Barging his way through there was Fulls. Jackson Traeger, the door's open for him to take advantage. He just couldn't. I know Jackson Traeger would have loved to get through right there because this would be big. Now his teammate takes advantage. Blue Goggy, opportunistic there, and shoves him out. While that happened, the Godfather in. Danny through. And Woodda with a 3-second. He's our only driver with a track limit penalty in this race. 1 DNF so far. It feels like every time I talk good about the Season 12 Tier 2 champion, the American, Jackson Traeger here, it just doesn't go well for him. Because it's 3 times now he's lost out on something. The incident with the McLaren. Losing the lead. Right there. With what just happened. Is this going to be a race for Jackson Traeger where he looks back at maybe losing the championship, whatever it may be, and just says, that's the race of what could have been for me. Because it might be that way for him once this ends. Red Fire Tiger finally pits. Jackster, another move on the main straight this time. Swap it around for what? Maybe the 5th, 6th time here? Blue Goggy wants it on the equation as well. Down the inside. He shoves his nose in there, but he couldn't make anything from it. Everything remains put here in this battle for now. What's P3? It was P4 for the longest time, but since Red Fire's pit, obviously, you're going to have guys like Gog, you've already pitted. You're going to have guys like Fulls gaining spots now because that soft tires for Red Fire Tiger. We're going to find out if they can make it the rest of the way. That's big from the guy who came into today leading the championship, now 9 seconds back from his teammate. It might be who can pick up the most here, because look at all these top teams where they are. I know I mentioned it so many times, but Blonde still yet to pit. Jackster still yet to pit. Lennon still yet to pit, by the way. That Aston's a top 5 car. Danny, 16 laps soft, still yet to pit. We got contact. Blue Goggy getting elbows out. And no, spin. Another incident for Jackson Traeger. That's his 4th. Danny involved in this one. Obviously, they kept it straight, but like I was saying, Danny yet to pit. Jackson Traeger, he's lost so much time. He's gotten to 4 incidents this race. Look at where the Mercedes are. Look at where the McLarens are. Big day to take advantage. Jackster is in. This reminds me of this race. Well, it was Japan, round 3, I believe, as Vodka gets polo. Very big there in the DRS train. This reminds me of Japan a few seasons ago, where Owen won that race over Bunky. But there was a big battle for the podium. In big battles all over. Williams took points that race. Double Alfa Romeo points that race. There were so many guys as Blue Goggy gets fulls here. Big, big place to make that move. It just reminds me of that race in Japan, which was round 3. 3 seasons ago, those 3 were Wavy and Goggy collided, by the way. But it reminds me of that race because the fact that door was wide open to take a podium. It was Gecko who did for Alfa Romeo. And many midfield teams took advantage of bad days from big name teams. Right now, round 3 seasons later in Zandvoort, we're seeing the exact same thing happen. And Blue Goggy almost got tagged from the rear there by Fulls. This is what I talk about. I talked about it in F2. You got to be careful following in the train. And I think Jake Bandy in this train has just lost 2 places. Very big for the McLaren. In is our leader, Blonde again. What is tires he's going for? Softs. Lennon yet to pit. Goggy, technically our net race leader, might get overtaken here. Into the pits is Danny and Wavy. Danny speeds, and Goggy has been overtaken by 2 in 1 straight. Red Fire Tiger's going fast. He just stole the fastest lap. Jackson Traeger now in P3 in this race, getting hounded by his teammate who gives him a nudge. Nine viewers are watching this race, watching either an Academy teammate, a driver they're rooting for, or for the sake of entertainment. With 12 laps remaining, wondering what's going to happen with this. Dive down the inside. Jake Bandy on Danny. Could not make the move stick right there, but that was a ballsy one. That McLaren of Jake Bandy should be the faster car. Should have got through a while ago, but he still is trying so desperately to get through. And Danny, by the way, just came out of the pits. When will Lennon, our Tier 3 championship leader, pit? Anywhere from about 20 to 23 seconds, I want to say that pit stop is. So he will come out inside the points when he comes out. But how will it play into his hands? We got soft tires from Blonde. Red Fire, obviously they're going fast. Blonde obviously setting a purple sector already. Jackson Traeger up to 2nd now. This should be his win. And this would be so big from this guy if he can do it. 4 incidents this race. 4 incidents. Blue Goggy just locked the rears down there at turn 3. That's going to back him into Vodka, Polo, and Kimmy. Very big for this race if that does end up being the case for Goggy, who could have really took advantage. Not going to do so. Jake Bandy, big for McLaren, out of this race. He is our 2nd driver we've lost. But I just want to mention, because of that incident, he would have been fighting for points. Cryptic, Danny, Jackster. That's the train for points. There was a movement there, I believe, the last lap on the main straight, but our focus was just Jake Bandy, who retired in the pit lane, and we've lost him from this event. Polo in P6, Kimmy in P7. I know Invade mentioning his driver right there. Very big from Polo, very big from Kimmy, very big from Blue Goggy. A statement here in the V-card, saying to this field, you kicked me out of Red Bull. Cookie, you kicked me out of Red Bull. You kicked me out of an Academy assistant. I want to prove it to you that you made the wrong decision. And right now, he's fighting for a podium. Blonde, fastest lap. Blonde gets by Kimmy. Yellow flags. That's the Ferrari of Jackster around. He just recently pitted, and Jackson Traeger took back P2. Show this top 7. Really, top 6, I guess, top 7, whatever you want to call it, top 8, to the whoever would watch this race or to the team principals, and they would have said, "What?" Yeah, Blonde just got by Polo, one of the underdog teams right there, running inside the points with Kimmy right behind. This is really amazing me. Some of the guys who are taking full advantage of this. I thought Polo and Kimi would have taken more advantage of this, but with where their cars are in the depth chart and everything, and just with how this has played out, I'm not surprised they haven't as much, but Vodka made a wiggle. Gagi went in the grass. This is going to really affect things, but Blonde and Vodka are the two big teams here who should take advantage. Vodka's pitted already. Was going to overtake Gagi. Might get overtaken here. And Blonde, who recently pitted, still has a chance for this race victory. Lennon stays out again, but is not pit yet this race. Maybe banking on a safety car. Battle for P2 reigns on. That will be our net race lead when things do cycle out. The Alpine of Foles looking for a first podium. Jackson Traeger looking for a miraculous win, what would be in a race where it's been so upside down for him. But right now, it's upside down here for P7. Red Fire, Polo, Kimi, three-car battle. Red Fire went wide. Polo tried a cutback. Couldn't all work itself out. Red Fire Tiger, though, looked like he out-traction Polo right there. Now, with no ERS on overtake for any of these guys, Red Fire's dancing around. And he's hit Polo. Polo went wide, trying to avoid Kimi. Red Fire hit him because of that. Now I think Red Fire almost gave it up, saying, I didn't want to do that. So I backed off, then went side by side the next corner and got the move done that way. You think Lennon might try to stay out? I mean, he can't, though. He didn't pit on lap 1. He can't do that. He needs to pit. Now, Blonde inside on Vodka. He gets the move done. Does he clear him? Yes, he does. Blonde is in 5th place now. Lennon is still staying out. I think he's banking on a safety car, guys. I really do. And if that's the case, that would play so big into his hands. Back further behind. Red Fire Tiger, Lennon's Academy teammate, makes the move for 7th. This is super big for Red Fire to win out in this championship battle against his team and even other guys like Jackson Traeger, who's outperforming him today, behind him in the championship. Jake Bandy said floor damage was losing him time. Cookie said he didn't expect Gagi to be here. Well, he's just been overtaken by the Academy teammate of Blonde. Blonde up another place. Can he get to Jackson Traeger in time? He's not far from him. And they're also gaining on our leader, who's yet to pit, by the way. Here comes Blonde again. Gets cut off by the Alpine this time. I would love to take you guys off the tire thing, but with the advantage Blonde and other guys have, we cannot do that. Blonde makes the overtake again. Passes for P3. He's really on the charge here. It's his first race back in a Red Bull since his championship season, and he's made so many overtakes in the last few laps. Now in his teammate for the net lead. Blonde through. Miraculous stuff from Blonde in the last few laps to make this charge back to the field on the strategy disadvantage up to the net lead. Now he's just one spot away from the lead, but it still all could change depending on what Lennon does and with the way this race could play out. We had another movement further on back. I think Red Fire got his Academy teammate. Academy teammates and other tiers rooting him on. Blonde, that is. And Invade mentioned not too long ago where Blue Gagi is going to Invade's team next season. Kicked out of Red Bull. Gagi in P5 was not in the script, and I can tell you right now, this is a big statement from him running P5 in this V-Carb. I know this race has been chaotic. It's opened the opportunity for him to do that, but you got to take the opportunities when they're there for you, and he has. But I want to see more. I want to see this more consistently. A driver who was inconsistent. Wasn't even here last week. Now, about to be overtaken by the Mercs. Kick is a stretch, but you know what, though? That's the worst car, performance-wise. You got to take advantage of it, and Gagi almost lost the rear there in the banked last corner. Now, on the Alpine or the Mercedes on him, which one happens? Down the inside. Red Fire Tigers through and ahead. This is another guy in the charge. He needs to get these places over his teammate and over Jackson Traeger, who could be gaining so many points on him in the championship. Red Fire Tiger has held that deficit. Out traction the Alpine at turn 3. Red Fire Tiger makes the overtake. Jackster and Wavy, a battle outside the points. We're not going to focus on that right now because this is all big for the later stage of this season with guys like Jackson Traeger, Red Fire Tiger, Vodka, all in this fight. Even Blonde. Only 10 points so far this season. If he wins this race today, he spins out! Blonde has just thrown it all away! We're just speaking about the big change if he wins this race, and even for Red Bull's sake and the constructors, scrap that. As we switch to Blonde, he locks the rears and lost it. Put our net race leader to Jackson Traeger. And this would be so big for Red Fire if he could pull it off too. He's only 4 tenths away from DRS. V-Carb is a good car, I would agree with that. But right now, Vodka overtakes the V-Carb of Blagagi down to 6th. Technically, this would have been 7th with where Blonde was just running, but Blonde just bottles it. What happened? Did he clip the grass right there? Did he just lock the rears? What could have possibly happened? He was running so comfortable behind Lennon and ahead of the teammate. No pressure whatsoever either. And he just threw it away. He could have had his first win in 8 seasons. And it seemed like someone who threw this race away early on, battling Blonde, battling others, Jake Bandy collision, falling down the order earlier, half spins, Jackson Traeger, has had it all happen today. But he needs to get this move done because Red Fire's closing in and reeling him in. Jackson Traeger cuts the corner and goes off. And that's the second Red Bull to throw it away. Jackson Traeger spins around. Red Fire Tiger now leads this race. Net lead, excuse me. But Lennon back in front. Red Bull have thrown it all away. They were running 1, 2, 3 at this point. Lennon has just let his teammate by. Red Fire Tiger leads this race. What has happened? Blonde through Ngagi. Lennon lost the rear. He's putting out the Alpine sandwich here. Or excuse me, Merc Academy sandwich that he's a part of with the Alpine. Blonde is back up to 4th. And it's still not done. He could possibly make the recovery drive. He's got the car advantage over the top 3 guys. And he's got the tire advantage. I would agree the V-Carb's not the worst car. I was talking about the Sauber being the worst car, though. Blonde, down the inside, through, Vodka, almost lost the car, overcorrected it, and now, ghosting inside of Gagi, could have thrown so many points away. Looks like he's only going to throw a spot away. Blonde makes the overtake again. Second time may be the one. Third time the charm with having to recover through the field and get up here. But Blonde is only a 10th away from DRS from our leader. It's only our 3rd time in Zandvoort, by the way, in Tier 2. And this race may be the craziest of them all. I mean, I'm getting flashbacks to the Tier 1 race, basically, of last time we ran here, Season 10, where smaller field, 14 guys, obviously 18 here today, 2 we've lost from this event, Jake Bandy and Dominic, but it feels like that race with the chaos and the unknowns. But this time, you think it's been chaotic enough. Throw another wrench at things. Throw another wrench at things. That's the way it's been today. I cannot believe it. And we might have an Alpine on the podium. Or we might have Vodka or Gagi take it. Keep in mind with Lennon yet to pit. Polo God, Kimmy, Danny, Godfather, and Cryptic, they will gain another spot. Cryptic will be in the points. But there's still a lot to go with steward room incidents that have happened. There have been many guys who've gotten incidents today. And I don't know who their stewards were at fault for them. But that could also play a factor in things. Blonde bottled the lead few laps ago and is now trying to reclaim it over Red Fire Tiger on lap 33, now lap 34. Red Fire goes defensive, Blonde goes a long way around, and he's reeled him in. From a second back the last time by, Blonde switches back, cannot make the move. You had a movement there with 3rd place. Lennon's down to 5th. Fulls is up to 3rd. Vodka's 4th. And Polo God is in a battle with a Williams, and he just stepped the wheel on the gravel. He dipped the wheel on the kitty litter. If you want me to make a political joke, I know that's not the place to. Hopefully, no kitties are being eaten. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm sure some of you will love that joke. Red Fire loses it on the curb. Gives up the lead. Blonde is through again. And Blonde, who spun out in the leading spot just a few laps ago, may be having this race go his way now. Talk about all the adversity, being on the wrong strategy, now being back in position for the third time, really. He led this race from the start, pitted, then got it back, spun out, and is now being overtaken from the lead again. Red Fire Tiger back through with 2 laps to go. Lennon is finally in. He didn't get the safety car he wanted, but his academy teammate right now, of Vodka, is fighting for the podium. Polo to 6th, Gagi to 5th, Danny 7th, Kimmy down to 8th. How will Danny fight his academy teammate here? That will be interesting. This is going to be so interesting with Red Fire and Blue Gagi. We've had an absolute thriller for 35 laps so far, and it may come down to lap 36. Last time by, Red Fire Tiger lost the rear there. And right there this time, he kept it clean. He needs a last clean 4 sectors to win this race. Blonde needs to overtake him. Danny and Polo. Danny's up to 6, but he does have the penalty to spare. And if an Alpine of Fulls can get on the podium for the first time, that'd be big for them. Alpine haven't seen a podium in quite a bit in Tier 2, to say the least. At least it's felt that way. 1 lap to go. Blonde with the ERS advantage. Red Fire Tiger just trying to hang on. 1 lap to go. And right now, Blonde has taken over. Vodka takes 3rd. The Alpine, I don't think he's done fighting this down to turn 1. It makes Red Fire go a little defensive. But that don't mean anything right there as the overtake gets done. Spin further on back. Jackson Traeger's day has gone from bad to worse to even worse. Outside the points. They put him on 29 lap hards. No, he didn't even pit. That's right. He didn't pit. He's just been back there. He's just been losing time. Excuse me. My goodness. My goodness. I feel like this race couldn't get any more crazier, but we've had everything thrown at it. And if the Alpine of Fulls can overtake there for the last spot, Alpine are going to get their first podium since Season 10, by the way. And we spoke about previous seasons, first times. Well, how about Blonde, who spun out from the lead, was on the wrong strategy, the strategy disadvantage, and for the first time, the Season 6 Tier 2 champion is going to win for the first time since that exact season. 8-season drought is now over for Blonde as he wins and spins tonight in Zandvoort to take the victory. Red Fire, 2nd, minimizes some damage for that championship. And a fight to the line. Danny couldn't get him on track there at Gagi. Kimmy couldn't get Polo. Vodka gets 3rd, by the way, while that was happening. Fulls is 4th. Gagi, a good showing in 5th. Polo 6th. Kimmy 7th. Good midfield showings. Cryptic 7th. And Lennon just stole the fastest lap there. Didn't get a point for it. But Danny got the last point. What a day from Blonde. What a day from him. You know, a week after mid-race in Baku getting signed back to the main Red Bull. After showing so well in the V-Carb, he spun out from the lead in this race. He was comfortably leading at no pressure. He was on the strategy disadvantage. He takes the win in Zandvoort. Got that from Blonde. Our last 2 cars crossed the line, Woda and Neski. Obviously, Neski got him on the penalty. That does not matter being outside the points, but for Blonde's case, win 6 in Tier 2 comes tonight. And it's the first time since Season 6. Oh my. Fair play to Blonde. Fair play to him. "30 laps, though. Yeah. Oh. I will give Blonde an interview after we get our podium celebrations underway, but it's a Red Bull Merc. Merc finished 2nd and 3rd for the 2nd week in a row. They finished in back-to-back spots, actually, for the 3rd week in a row. Here are your final results from Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix. Lennon in his home race takes fastest lap. Led most of this race, actually. But he only led it because the strategy was on. And I was surprised he held on for as long as he did, to be honest. What a miraculous win from Blonde. Strategy disadvantage, spun out, nearly bottled it. First win since Season 6. He deserves the credit. But that's how crazy this race was. You had so many guys who were contenders who you thought would win this race, and they just didn't. Red Fire could have. Vodka could have. They at least get the podium out of it. Big day for them in Constructors. Foles is fourth, just missing out on an Alpine podium there. Goggy statement day there. Got Polo, Kimmy, Godfather, Cryptic, Danny, Wavy. Well, Danny in the points. Wavy, first guy outside the points. There's your guys who we lost from this event. It was the McLaren and the Sauber. Sauber being banned. The McLaren of Jake Bandy, not his day at all. So we will give it to Blonde now in just a moment here. Have him talk about his race. I don't think he would have thought he won this race after that spin and everything that just happened to him right there. But I got to give him a lot of credit because he really put through the charge, and he put through the charge for a second time too. Just a reminder for those of you who may click off stream right now before we get our interviews, because see now probably about half the people who are watching clicked off. We have tier 1 tomorrow in Zenvor, F2 in Canada for tomorrow's events. Make sure you do tune into that, and also Tier 3 will be racing again next week. They'll be in Austria, and Tier 2 will be in Spain for those of you who do not want to catch us for the post-race interview of Blonde. Blonde, welcome along. Make sure you include your audio. It's good to have you, by the way, again. But it's also good to have you back on the top step. It's your first time up there in Tier 2 in 8 seasons. Back when you last won the championship. Back when you last were in the Red Bull as well. Talk me through what could have been you losing the race victory right there and how you got it back.
That was an interesting moment. I think it's just a bit of a lack of concentration, really, because I think I was already thinking like I'll just get to the back of the Aston and I'll overtake him, and he just clipped across on the outside and spun the car. It was a really weird one because I've done that before practicing and usually it's fine, but it must be because I turned the wheel too much. It just sent the rear rounds, but luckily I managed to get through it again. I think the Rebel was just by far the fastest car at that point.
So you're back in the Red Bull now. You got promoted there last week after Gagi missed. Baku and Cookie got kind of tired of him. Now you're in this main car. You're in a car that can contend for the championship and actually won the championship last season. Do you think with the day you had versus the Mercs and the speed you have as a driver, you can fight for this championship with the remaining 7 rounds and get a second title in Tier 2?
I'm not sure because, I mean, I missed out on a lot of points in those first 3 races, obviously, or first 2, I can't remember, I think it was 2, yeah. But I think anything's possible, so I just have to keep trying to get as many points as possible. I mean, I know that's a good track for me, so that's probably why I performed so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice way to start, I guess.
So, my last part here I want to ask you is about tomorrow. I want to ask you about tomorrow for Tier 1 guys who race here. You've got podiums before twice in Tier 1, and a lot of those drivers were watching tonight's race and probably taking some notes or thinking some things in their mind for tomorrow's event in Tier 1 when they race here. You made a lot of overtakes coming through the field on a strategy disadvantage, and you had to do it again after you spun out. How hard were those overtakes to make through the field? And I guess what advice with that would you give to the Tier 1 drivers because of the, I guess, lack of overtaking that usually happens around here, but you made it look easy?
I think it's easier to overtake than people think. I mean, especially that hairpin turn 3, the carousel. It was pretty easy because most of it's traction, and I think you just have to catch them when they're not expecting it. Because I think on the straight, especially in this game, you just burn overtake. You've got no chance of overtaking the other guy in front of you. So I think you just have to really use your fresh tyres to your advantage with on the exits and traction.
And lastly, we just spoke about, a chance for maybe a championship. My last question for you. I believe it's Spain next week. We had a big battle for the victory there last season between Hunted and JTK. Do you expect it to be an easy race for you in the Red Bull next week? What do you expect overall at Spain? I would hope you don't expect to have happen what you had there at the ending of Sector 2 again.
Yeah, again,
That'll
I think
haunt you.
Spain is one of my better tracks as well, so I'll be hoping for a good result there. But yeah, I think it's another one of those tracks where time management is also key if there's no safety cars, so I think that's probably going to be an interesting one because it offers something different compared to most of the other tracks.
I would agree with that. I think it's a lot easier, in my opinion, because you spoke about this track, you know, and it being easier than people think. I think Spain is a lot easier,
Yeah, definitely.
compared to recent years to overtake there, and the way these cars drive. I think we will see some interesting stuff to a point you made there. But yeah, congrats once again on the victory. I'm sure you're definitely happy you got it. That will probably haunt you, or would have haunted you worse
Yeah,
if you had
definitely.
lost the victory from that. I'm glad you got it back from that. That is a good sign that you didn't end up having no chance to get it back after
Yeah.
that. But congrats on the win once again.
Thank you.
All right, so tomorrow's events, F2 in Canada, F1 in Zandvoort. But Tier 2's next event will be in Spain, round 4 of the season. Both Merc drivers have been back and forth with each other. Red Fire head of Vodka, Vodka head of Red Fire, or just really one spot away from each other, which is what we called it. Will this same thing happen in Spain, where I would say it's a minimal damage loss between both? Tune in to find out. Tune in to find out what happens between Red Fire Tiger and Vodka, the two protagonists right now so far in 3 rounds for our championship lead. Tune in tomorrow for F2 at Canada, F1 in Zandvoort, like we said, tomorrow, and Tier 2 in Spain the next time we race. Next Friday. We'll catch you then. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, signing off. We will see you then. Have a good night, everybody. And we hope you have a great evening, night, whatever it may be. We'll see you tomorrow or next week in Tier 2. Good night.